Hello and welcome to this pick a card reading. My name is Kelly Rowland and my channel is When the Stars Aligned, where I share all things that are in service to your authentic embodiment via esoteric, metaphysical, and somatic tools. Today we have a pick a card reading. I love working with oracle and tarot cards. I have since I was about 18 years old, born and raised in Salem, Massachusetts, and I have found that oracle cards and tarot cards can be a really powerful way to hear messages from your intuition, to listen to the deeper truth within you. And that is the theme for this reading today. The question is, what message do I need to hear today from my guides? As you can see, there are 3 piles of cards on this table, and I have pre-shuffled. I do not know what's in each of those decks, but I sat with each of the crystals, held it on my heart, and set an intention to receive the messages for that crystal and for those who will be drawn to that crystal. And then I shuffled through 3 different decks of cards that I love working with and have picked these 3 piles. So if you are new to pick a card readings, have no fear. These are a very benevolent, beautiful way to listen to messages from your heart, to receive guidance on a certain question or area of your life that might be a little tricky or confusing or in the gray for you right now. So I like to start with a simple meditation so that you can tune into your intuition and pick the deck that most speaks to you. So take a moment to just close your eyes. Take a nice big inhale. Hold the breath for a moment at the top of your breath. And then exhale, fully releasing, guiding your attention to your third eye, the spot right in between your 2 eyes and your eyebrow bone. And just hold your focus there for a moment. Notice if any color, sensations appear here for you. And then ask your intuition, your higher self, God, whatever you want to call it, what do I most need to hear and receive today? And when you're ready, open your eyes and notice which pile speaks to you most. Maybe some of you already noticed and you went straight to it, but I am going to show you a close-up of each of the crystals so that you can get a feel for those as well. This crystal for deck number 1 is Quartz. The crystal for deck number 2 is Malachite. And the crystal for deck number 3 is Fossilized Coral Agate. So I'm going to give you another moment here to sit with the piles and choose which one most resonates for you. And when you're ready, you can find the timestamp to your reading in the description section below. Welcome, beautiful pile number 1, for those of you who chose the Quartz crystal. Let's see what you have in the cards today. So I will say, when I was shuffling your cards, pile number 1, I was tuning into my own somatic experience. I was noticing what I was feeling in my body, and I kept getting pulled to the bottom of the deck of each pile, that of each deck I was working with and picking the cards from. I kept getting this guidance to pull from the bottom. It's like, pull from the bottom, pull from the bottom, go to the bottom of the deck. I don't know if you all, or some of you, have felt like you've really been like digging to some depths recently. Maybe you've been involving yourself in some shadow work, or unpacking childhood situations, or looking more acutely at shadow aspects of yourself or trauma. I just got this feeling of like going to the depths. Or maybe you are someone who really values going to the depths, and it's a very strong part of who you are and how you live your life and what you want and what you desire. It was wild. It was like there was weights in my hands. It kept saying, go to the bottom of the deck, pull from the bottom, pull from the bottom. And as I'm saying that now, I'm getting this sense that might be something you need to hear. It's not a time to play on the surface for you, pile number 1. It's a time for you to pull from the bottom, to pull from the depths of you. Maybe you feel like there's something you're wanting to do, or something you're being called to go after, or something that you really want to reach to your depths and ask more of yourself, maybe. Or I don't know what it is, but I kept getting this sense of pull from the depths, pull from the bottom. And I think that, with those heavier dark night of the soul periods in our life, I'm not saying that's what you're in, I'm just getting a little bit of a transference of that. It can be easy to fall into the trap of thinking that we're stuck there, but actually so much power comes from, the bottom of the barrel, the belly of the beast. So I don't know if that has any resonance for you, but we're gonna lay out some tarot cards. These are the first cards I pulled for you. Oh my goodness, I can't make this up. The first card we have for you is the Death card. Now, if you are new to tarot, I gotta give you the spiel on the Death card. There is nothing to be afraid of with the Death card whatsoever. It links to the zodiac sign of Scorpio. It's a card of regeneration, transformation, change, and the kind of change that you can't go back from. It's not change that is like changing your outfit. It's a core identity shift. It's an ending of a chapter of your life. It's a symbolic death, and that's really what the Death card represents, is a symbolic death with these white roses of innocence blossoming again, new life, inherently on the other side of the death, opening up into new life, opening up into resurrection. So I have a feeling y'all been going through something. The second card we have is the Five of Pentacles. This card can sometimes link to a sense of, it's focusing, feeling like you are without, or feeling like something didn't quite go to plan. Sometimes the Five of Pentacles does link to the earthly realm and material matters. So I get a sense that maybe there has been a death for you in a certain element of career, or a certain element of finances, or maybe even a certain title you thought you wanted that you used to see as abundant, or a part of having a really great status, or a part of, what you attributed your worth to is dead, or it's dying, or it is on its way to dying, and there's transformation there. Let's see what else we have. We have Knight of Cups, new opportunity that is more evocative of your heart. That is you going after what your heart wants. That is you saying yes to your inspiration. That is you saying yes to what makes you feel rich, right? Like if we look at the paradox of these two cards, Pentacles says, I want to be rich. I want to have the resources, the money, the status, the title, right? And it might not even be actually clued into how that feels on a heart level. Knight of Cups says, I want to fulfill you. I want to have you access and experience true wealth, wealth that is beyond form, wealth that can never be taken away from you. Money comes and goes, resources come and go, our bodies will all age and die, right? These inevitable dense forms of life all change, but emotional wealth, passion, fulfillment, going after your dreams, those are things that will not dry up. Those are things that will endlessly serve you. So I feel like there is an invitation coming in. Maybe it already has come in, or maybe I feel like some of you are sitting with it. I do think we need to see more cards, but I feel like this links to career to some extent. A big change around career, a change in career status, a change in career path, a change in career direction, or maybe even studies, or something that you were on the pursuit of studying. And it's almost like you're not throwing it in the bin, but I'm getting flashbacks to that sentiment I was saying in the beginning, like pull from the depths. You might feel like you're starting over, is what I'm getting. But you're much further ahead than you think you are. Two of Swords. Typically this card shows that you're grappling with some decision, but these cards like being together. I don't know if you see the colors. The lighting might be a little tricky. These color schemes work really well together. Do you see that? I see that. Color tells me a lot. I listen and hear a lot in frequency and color and patterns. And the energy of these two, it's like if you have the courage to accept the invitation that makes your heart feel like it's blossoming, even if you don't know all the hows and the whats and the how manys and the how much, it's going to support you to make the hard decision if you allow yourself to just kind of orient from that future position of looking back and thinking, I made the choice that fulfilled my heart. Because it is showing up that there's a choice here. It's like there's two parts of you inside. One might be a little bit more rational and thinking logically and practically, and also in a way that kind of depletes your soul. And one might be thinking more from your emotions and from your inspiration and from your intuition. And both voices, right, are important. We need both. We need both of those voices. But it's about taking stock of which one is really running the show here. Which one is are you giving more precedent to? Are you giving more precedence to the voice that is purely logical and based in rational thinking, or are you giving more precedence to the voice that is based in intuition in your heart? And I do feel like you're being guided to listen to your heart more than the rational, because the Death card is all about transformation, and transformation usually is never comfortable, right? Like, change is not comfortable. Becoming who you really desire to be is not always a comfortable experience. Like the butterfly, like the caterpillar becoming the butterfly, its whole body has to dissolve and become gush, and then it emerges as this new creature. And I feel like the choices that you have to make right now are actually really important. And I'm not saying this to put any pressure on you. Please listen to your own capacity, listen to what really resonates for you. But I do feel like there are some choices you have to make right now. And Spirit is saying to choose from your intuition, to choose from that softer, more hopeful part of you. And it's going to bring change. We have the Tower card. Wow, you guys are really, there's a lot of powerful energy here. I'm really getting affirmed in that intuitive insight that was coming through and pulling from the depths and digging to the bottom, because having the Death and the Tower card are very potent symbols of change and transformation. Like, they go hand in hand. They are very much so about positive upheaval, overdue change, flipping things over on their head, and, building true and strong. And the Tower card shows that anything that is falling apart in your life right now or falling away is because it wasn't truly built on solid foundations. It wasn't meant to stay. And if anything, I feel some emotions saying that. I feel like you guys are really hard workers. I don't know what that even means, because being a hard worker can mean so many things. It doesn't mean that you work 60-hour weeks. It could mean that you just really put a lot of care into what you do, and you want to be your best, and you want to show up your best. And I feel like you have cultivated something, you have built something really powerfully in your life, or as a part of who you are, or your own identity, or your own life path. And you're getting these signs, you're getting these gut instincts. I want to say recently, but it doesn't actually feel like recently. It feels like you've been getting them for a while, that there's a change, there's a big change coming, because some things you thought were stable really aren't. And such is being human. We change, we grow, we evolve, and it's okay to change, grow, and evolve. We have the Four of Swords. I just really want to encourage you guys to be easy on yourself. I feel like you're very, like, I'm seeing like fire and like a kind of like a Aries energy. I don't know if any of you have a big Aries energy in your chart, or very strong first house energy, or Mars placement. But I get this sense that you're really hard on yourselves, and you work really hard, and you push really hard, and you want to do good. And I just feel like the Four of Swords, this is a card of rest, recoup. Not all changes have to be made in this moment. Rome wasn't built in a day. And although, yes, there are big, true changes here and choices for you to make, it's not something that you need to, like, force. It might actually more so be a act of letting go. It might not even be that you have to physically push and make changes, but more so a matter of you sitting back, which might be counter to your like a instinctive response, and like let things fall away, let things fall apart, let things break down because they're not really meant to be there. I actually feel like this might be a call for less efforting and allowing things to die, allowing things to shed, allowing things to molt, allowing things to release from your life, and not trying to grab and hold them and sustain them. Okay, now we're gonna look at the next deck, the Shamanic Oracle, and I will link the decks that I'm using in the description below. First card is the Spiral. This card is about the journey, the evolutions, the turning. Similar to what we just said of things evolve, things change, people change, our path can grow, our path can change. Getting the Spiral card is a very strong affirmation that there is something turning and shifting in your life, and you could cling and grab on and refuse to follow the next octave of evolution, or you could give into it. You could let yourself be taken by this momentum. I do feel like there is, or is soon to be, some invitation that's opening you up to new possibilities of like, wow, maybe I would have never questioned my foundations or my path or who I thought I was or what I thought I'm doing, but because this invitation or because this person came into my life or because this experience or opportunity, now I'm kind of seeing that things could be different. And then you have a choice. Do you dig your feet into the ground and refuse to let yourself be taken by the spirals of evolution and change and the spirals of manifestation and change? Or do you lean into it and let it take you? I feel like good things are on the other side. But there is going to be a little bit of thunder. The Thunder card. Thunder, I would say, is very akin to the Tower card. Thunder card is all about change coming in. Big change. Shifting. Potent. Awakenings. It's the thunder being. It's the agent of evolution. You guys are going through some big changes. Oh my god. What is going on in your life right now, pal number one? I feel like you're here for it, though. And if that's the case, please let me know in the comments below if there's big change coming, and you're like dancing in the thunderstorm with these like buffaloes running in the clouds. I don't know if you can see it, but those are, is it bison or buffalo? They're running with the thunder. Like they are running with the thunder. They are creating the thunder. They are one with the thunder. And there's an opportunity here for you to really let this take you. And it doesn't require effort. It's like, I hope that makes sense. Tell me if that makes sense, right? There's a big difference between forcing and efforting and pushing ourselves to show up a certain way versus allowing yourself to run with the thunder of what is beckoning our heart. 1333 on my recording when I said that. To run with that creative energy, to run with that newness, to run with that inspiration, and to trust in the change, to give into it. And then we have the third card, the Beauty Way. This is linked to a Native American prophecy or concept or, mythos of what is it to walk in beauty? What is it to carry the frequency of beauty in what you do? What is it to look for and see the beauty in the world around you? What is it to also ask yourself, am I moving in the beauty way? Am I making the spaces I frequent, the eyes that I hold gaze with, the places that I live in, the places that I walk through, am I contributing to their beauty or to their destruction? And it's really this invitation, I see that very linked to the invitation with the Knight of Cups, to be invited into walking in a more beautiful way in the world. And this isn't about aesthetics, this isn't about superficial, surface level beauty. Like, of course, that has a place. It's more about in your heart, right? Like, what are the things that make you feel beautiful? What are the things that make you feel like your own soul is shining? Like for me, I know baking does that. I know dancing does that. I know sitting by the water does that. I know looking out at the treetops does that. I know having beautiful connections with people and deep conversations does that. What are the things that evoke beauty from within you? And what are the things that you are so drawn to the beauty of, right? I think we all have those unique things, and this might carry some hints into what this new pathway is that's opening up for you. Is like, what do you find absolutely gorgeous in life? What are you riveted by? I love watching things like Cirque du Soleil and dancers and acrobatics and somatic professionals like doing these incredible things with their body and telling stories with their body. Like that stuff brings me to tears. I see so much beauty in human expression. What are things that you see beauty in? Maybe it's family, or maybe it's land, or maybe it's food, or maybe it's music, or maybe it's artistry, or maybe it's spirituality, or maybe it's teaching, or maybe it's kids. Only you know that. But I feel like you're really being invited to follow your beauty way and to allow any deaths and shedding of what has been kind of blocking that flow of beauty. I want to say dehydrating you in a way from receiving that beauty or walking in that way. Okay, the last deck we're going to pull from is the Archetype deck by Kim Kranz. We have the Maiden card. I love this card. There's very strong rose energy going on in you guys' deck. I feel like there's more. It's strange. Like, I do get a very strong masculine energy from this pile because there's that Aries drive, passion, hardworking, devoted to growing and committing and showing up for what you're doing. But there's like a lot of a lot of lush feminine energy that's like it almost feels like it's like coming up through the concrete, like, please let me be free, please let me express myself. So I don't know if maybe you, and again, masculine and feminine, right? It's not limited to male or female. Maybe some of you are more masculine oriented, but you also have this deep feminine energy that's wanting to blossom through, or maybe some of you are men learning how to soften more into your feminine. I'm not exactly sure. Maiden card is very much about the, the innocence of our inner feminine essence, whether you're a man or a woman, the innocence of your inner feminine textures, your inner feminine beauty, your inner feminine source. It's young, it's sweet, it's innocent, it's slightly naive, it's ripe, it's wondrous, it's hopeful. It's the part of us that believes in the fairy tale. It's the part of us that believes that the world is good. It's the part of us that wants to trust and open our heart. So maybe this is a core quality within you, or maybe something that you're being invited to embrace as things are changing. What would it be like for you to trust? How would you move about your day if you trusted that things were working out for you? If you trusted that it was going to be okay? If you trusted that you were cared for by a higher power? If you trusted that it's all going to work out? And it's safe to feel. It's safe to feel your heart's innocent desire. And then we have the stone. So sweet to see these, like, I don't want to call them paradoxes. I want to call them balancing points in your reading. There's so much that kind of power and passion and cataclysmic changes and thunder. And then there's like roses and sweetness and softness and a beautiful interplay of those energies. What is it to be soft and strong? And the stone really carries that symbolism. I love this card because in the book it talks about how in ancient, not even ancient, they probably still do it, but in more Celtic traditions, Celtic wisdom, Celtic religion, Celtic ritual, they would lay stones, or they lay stones at their loved ones' gravestones, because the stones are known to carry the stories over hundreds of thousands of years. Flowers, right? They wilt and die, and they are beautiful in that kind of, finite timeline they live out. But a stone lives on forever. A stone is softened by the waters of life and strengthened by the rugged earth. And, it carries so much symbolism in that way. The stone asks us to reflect on, what is it that is true and standing within me? Long-standing. What is it that is true and everlasting within me? And that might be a really good question for you to sit with. What are some of the qualities beyond your job title, beyond your relationship status, beyond where you live or who you associate with or what you're about or who you think you are? What are the qualities within you, the virtues within you, the beautiful essences within you that are true and lasting? Those are going to have a lot of guidance for you. Those are going to help you understand how to let go and how to let this new chapter unfold. And then finally we have the bridge card. Bridging, talking about balance. This is about going from one place to another, about bringing one hemisphere of your brain in connection with the other hemisphere of your brain. I would recommend that you go on a lot of walks, group number one. It's known to bring balance between the limbic centers in our brain, to get the left brain and right brain moving more harmoniously. I do feel like you're going through a big transformation and integration right now of like maybe even self-identity or what you're pursuing in life or what you want to be going after. And the bridge is about realizing something that you may have held as like a far off possibility that seems so out of reach, so out of grasp, so unattainable from where you stand now is actually not as far as you think it is. The bridge card invites you to step away from the black and white thinking and embrace more of a rainbow thinking. Maybe these paths do intertwine. Maybe the answer is a little closer than I thought it was. Maybe the answer is in the question. Maybe the question is in the exploration and waiting for me to live into the answer. It's about allowing things to come together in your life, noticing where you have created big gaps in your own desires or your own longing places. Like, you kind of fragment yourself, right? We can do this as humans. We can fragment ourselves. So, oh, well, I want to be a writer, but I have to pay the bills. Oh, and I want to be a mom, but I love my independence too much. Oh, and I want to be, a famous musician, but I have a skill set in technology and I want to pay the bills. It's like we can put things in such compartmentalized places. We can compartmentalize so much, but realizing the bridges exist and moving out of black and white thinking and into more the gray space and the rainbow space can help you understand those different textures. But I do feel like there's a lot of bridging going on within you right now. Maybe things you never thought would be possible for you, or maybe things that you've really wanted, or maybe you even feel like you're being invited to walk across a bridge, and it means leaving behind something in the past. That's okay, because even if you let something go or let people go, it always stays with you in your heart. Even if you never talk with someone again, or even if you never delve into a certain career path again, you are still always touched and impacted by the memory of what you shared in that time, in that space, in that career, with that person. And that's something that gets to live on and evolve. So this is a very powerful reading, number one, group number one. I'm really curious about y'all and what you were up to in life, because I do feel like there's some big changes going on. So thank you for being here. If you want to receive your own personalized reading, I am actually opening up for a small amount of time some personal card readings, something I have not done before. But I have been reading cards and reading astrology for the last 8 years, and I'm really excited to bring in this new reading format. So if you want to get your own reading, find that in the comments below and in the description, and I hope you have a beautiful day. On to pile number 2. Pile number 2, this is for those of you who chose the Malachite stone. I will say that this stone is a very protective stone. It's a very powerful stone for warding off negative energy, for releasing any residue from your psychic field of attachments or cords or connections that are not serving you, or just, the bad vibes. So maybe some of y'all are wanting some of that right now. Maybe y'all are wanting like a little bit of protection or release or cleansing. If so, you received that, and I hope and pray that you receive that as well. Something as well, when I was shuffling for your reading, for this crystal, I was drawn to the top of the deck. I haven't had this experience before with a pick a card, where my hands like felt guided to different parts of the decks as I was shuffling, almost as if there was a magnet, knowing exactly which cards to pull. And I don't look at the cards when I shuffle. It's very anonymous. I feel them while they are face down, and I pick the ones that call. And I was really called to the top of the deck for your reading. And my hands kept guiding me up. It's like, no, rise up. Come to the top. Come to the top. So maybe that is a sentiment that some of you are feeling in your life right now, or needing to hear right now. It's like, rise to the top. Come up. Come up. Come to the top. I even want to say it in kind of like a commanding voice or something. It's like, rise up. Rise up. Keep your head up. Look up. You are protected. You are safe. It's okay. Maybe some of you have been through a really hard time, or you're coming out of a phase of some denseness and darkness, and it's like that trust, which is sometimes the hardest thing to attain, right, within ourselves, is trusting that it can get better, trusting that we can look up, trusting that we can enjoy the goodness in life, trusting that you can like feel assured that things are getting better, and that the classic, like the shoe about to drop, like don't worry about that, you're good, you're on your path. So let's get into the cards. We're going to see what we have for you. We're going to start with the tarot, and I'm going to link all of the decks that I use in the description box below this video, as well as a link if you want to get your own personalized reading. So the first card we have, oh my god, we have the Star card. Talk about rising up. The Star card, David Bowie, is all about rising up and shining in your light, standing in your authentic beauty, standing in your authentic expression, shining your gifts, shining your art in the world, shining your beauty. Sorry if it's not focused. And really just standing in your essence. It's the Aquarius card, so maybe some of you are Aquarians, or Aquarius plays a big role in your astrology chart, or the 11th house, or Uranus, or Saturn. Maybe Aquarius energy though, and I love this card. I have an Aquarius moon, but this card is all about owning who you are and what makes you uniquely beautiful with your own eclectic style of that, with your own way of being in that. This is all about shining in your unique light and like rising up. The star is in the sky. It's way up above. We don't look down to the stars, we look up to the stars. So looking up to your potential, looking up to what you desire for your life, looking up into the possibilities. And we have the Fool card. Wow, you guys are fun. This is a very different tone than pile number 1, which is so cool because all of the tones are wonderful. It's just, it's different. We're all so different. And I'm getting a sense with this card, seeing that you have the star cards, seeing that we're getting this kind of like somatic nudge to rise up. You're being called to start something new in life. You're being called to take a leap of faith. And that is what Spirit wants to tell you today. Where do you feel called to take that leap of faith? Where have you maybe been ignoring it? Or where are you ready to just say yes? Because this is a card of saying yes to a new beginning. Saying yes to throwing caution to the wind and going after your heart. Trusting that your heart will lead you true. The Fool often gets judged, condemned, ostracized, infantilized because it seems immature, right? It seems immature to throw caution to the wind. It seems immature to not care about the same things everyone is caring about, to not just focus on your routines and your structures and the predictable and the rote and the concrete and the stable. The Fool says, I don't really care about that right now. I need to expand. I need to learn. I need to stretch my horizons. I need to stretch my wings and fly and grow. And yes, to some that may seem crazy or obscene or reckless. It's actually so courageous. And there's a quote I saw one time, and I loved it, and it's coming to my mind now as I give this reading, and it's like, all the world may not love a lover, but they will be watching him. All the world may not love a fool, but they will be watching you. They might not like that. They might not like to admit that, but there's an inevitable draw that people have to people like you who are going after what they want, even if they kind of resent it or are triggered by it, because it highlights a core human expression to expand. And you have that in you. You have this adventurous spirit and soul that you need to listen to. And it's calling you towards something, and who knows, maybe it's calling you towards doing something more grounded, like starting your own business or opening up a practice or, scaling your finances. I don't know. Or maybe it's not, and it's something that seems quote unquote foolish, but in that there is wisdom. The Fool is deeply wise. We have the 3 of Wands. Okay, I'm definitely getting a nudge on travel. Focus, please. Thank you. This card is, and there is a musician as well. So I don't know if any of y'all play music, but more so, this is traveling. I really feel like you guys are about to go on a journey, or you're on a journey, maybe as you're listening to this, or you are in the midst of planning it, or you are waiting for that nudge from the universe if you should leap or not. I'm definitely getting a big leap energy. I have to like slow down and breathe a little bit. I'm so excited for you guys. There's a lot of, like elevation in your reading. There's a sense of, similar to how heat rises, and like when a hot air balloon catches flight and it goes up, but it needs the heat to rise. It's like there is fire under you guys' seat right now. And you got to take that opportunity. You got to say yes while the opportunity is here. And that's not putting pressure on you or anything. I'm not saying you should do it all right now, but I mean, hey, if there's an opportunity right now and it feels right, perhaps that's, a sign. But it's more so about not limiting your excitement. Don't squash your fire. Don't squash your passion. And maybe even if you have these plans unfolding, be cautious with who you talk about it with. Unless you have a really resilient spirit and you don't let people bother you. I'm a little bit more of a softie. I'm learning, but I would say keep it close to your heart. Talk to God about it. Talk to Spirit about it. Talk to the trees about it. Talk to the ocean about it. Talk to the wind about it. Talk to that which will amplify and support you and meet you from a place of wholeness, not meet you from a place of judgment or restriction or logic or suppression, because there's a lot opening for you, group number 2. And I do feel like there is like a call for travel or adventure, expanding your horizons, leaping into the unknown. And you could do this in your own home. You know, you totally could. But it's about what adventure is calling to you. And that's something only you know. And let's see if the cards have anything else. Okay, change of pace a little bit. We have 10 of Swords. This card is it's a funny one because it's like as bad as it can get. It's a very mental card. This card is about mental anguish, mental pain, mental restriction, mental damnation. It's like a lot of troubles happening in your mind, not actually in reality. But the good thing about this card is that it's the end of the line. After 10 of Swords, it becomes the Page of Swords. We evolve into a new chapter. So if you have really been grappling with something, feeling fear or hesitancy around something, feeling a lot of despair around something, that's definitely showing up in the cards, that you may have been kind of making yourself your own worst enemy in your mind. But it's at the end of the line, you know. It's like it can't really get much worse than that. And there's a choice point, right? I do feel like I need some more clarity. Can I have another clarifier on this? 2 of Cups. Okay. And the Chariot. Wow. Okay, another travel card. What is going on with you guys with the 10 of Swords? What is causing you anguish? What is causing you mental fixation? What is causing you worry or sleepless nights? Is it linked to love and relationship? This card is a relationship and love card and partnership. Or is it linked to your own limitations? Is it linked to fears? This card just feels so out of place, honestly. All of these cards are very synonymous with a sense of like, follow your heart, take the leap, journey into the unknown, trust yourself, go for it, leap, expand your horizons, take the risk. Chariot card is all about moving forward. You know, it's this magical being with a flower head on a magic carpet flying to unknown lands. It's like saying yes to the journey, getting in the car and going, getting on the plane and going, booking the tickets and going. And maybe there's just some lingering confusion or pain or doubt. Maybe it's an outside influence. I have a feeling with the 2 of Cups showing up, maybe there's an outside influence that's really affecting you a lot right now, or you're letting affect you, that you can't do what you want, or for some reason it's causing some shame and despair. And we're not at all here to demonize people. I'm a big fan and big advocate for self-responsibility. I don't think that people are these anomalies that come into our life and want us to suffer and are out to get us. I think that there's always an element of give and take, reflection and projection, amplification of our own internal wounds. So this is not demonizing anybody, but maybe there's something within yourself that, you know, has a soft spot or a tender spot around anguish or despair, or I can't have what I want, or I can't do what I want, or this just it's not going to work out, you know. And then there might be people in your life who are reflecting and showing that wound back to you by directly poking it, right? So I don't know, that could only be for a few of you, but I do get a sense that there's this anomaly card popping out here, you know, this outsider. I don't feel like it's strong. I feel like there's just some lingering residue of some pain, but something that does feel important to say here, and you'll learn this when you come back to my pick a card readings, and if you work with me ever in astrology or human design or somatic work, I don't really beat around the bush and I don't sugarcoat things. I like to say it like I see it and be honest. So take it or leave it. But maybe what this is showing is that with this despair kind of like mental anguish card, this expansion and this leap into the unknown and these travels, make sure they're coming from your heart, not from a place of running away from your pain, not from a place of running away from your fears, not from a place of, you know, numbing out and, you know, just getting high off of the newness. So maybe there's something there. It's like sit with yourself a little bit and really ask, what am I intending with this journey I'm taking? Where is this coming from? What is this in devotion to? And it's not to get too heady about it, right? But maybe that's showing up here. It's like, make sure your movements into the new territories and into the expansions and into these rising up, like where is it coming from? Where is it truly coming from? Is it coming from your heart? Is it coming from how, just how God wants to move through you, how spirit wants to move through you, how love wants to move through you, how creation wants to move through you? Or is it coming from a place of like a compensatory nature, or wanting to prove yourself, or wanting to run away from a hard thing? Maybe that's the only thing I'm seeing here. But it could also just be showing that you got some fear coming up, and that's totally natural. It's totally fine. And just like we said, this could be reflected to you by people in your reality. This could also, on the other side of this, the coin, be showing that if you're feeling some of that anguish and that anxiety and fear come up, surround yourself with people who help you feel more inspired, help you feel more trust in yourself. Two of Cups is the card of relationships, it's the card of love, it's the card of unions. And typically it is a romantic partnership. I think, though, it can be about anybody we feel love for and care for. Anyone that we want to share our heart with and meet in a place of presence and intimacy and depth, even if it's fully platonic. Platonic love is hugely underrated. I'm a big fan of platonic love. I think society's a little bit confused still about platonic love. I don't know why I'm wanting to talk about this with you guys. Maybe there's some platonic friends that you really love and care for in your life. But spend time with people who help you silence or move away from, like the projected fears, the doomsday thinking, and move more into a place of expansion, possibility, trust, freedom, love. Definitely, being practical to an extent to be able to know what you need to do and to take the right actions, but help you move from your heart and from trust and faith. And yeah, this card definitely shows some travel. So where are you guys going? Tell me. Tell me all about it. All right, now we're going to pull from our next deck, the Shamanic Oracle deck. We have the Middle World. Okay, so this is coming through intuitively. Maybe some of you are a little stuck on how you're financially going to make this work. Again, this might only apply to some of you, but there's just like so much expansion and positivity, and maybe there's like some contraction and trigger around, oh, but how am I going to do it? And the Middle World card is all about, how do I make something happen in the 3D? Yes, I have the dream from, the upper world, and I have the passion and the power from the lower world, but how do I make it happen in the middle world? What does it actually look like? Contextualized. So maybe some of you are wondering how you're going to make this happen, like physically or financially. And I'm not a financial advisor, so please never come to any pick a card reading for financial advice. But I'll speak from my own experience. I'm someone who has traveled the world extensively. I'm not going to give you a whole spiel, I promise. This is going to be quick. I left home at 18 with like $500 in my bank account, and I lived in New Zealand for a year, and I was, backpacking, I was working on farms, I was going to Vipassana meditations, I was going to Waldorf schools and volunteering. I was doing all sorts of things that expanded my horizons, and I didn't have to spend a lot of money. And also, when the time came that I needed to make some money, there's always ways you can be resourceful. There's jobs you can pick up, there's work trades you can do, and maybe you're even going to be called to like convert some of your own passions or talents or hobbies into skill sets that offer value to people. That's something that I ended up doing. I started doing Mayan astrology readings because I was deeply passionate about it, and I loved doing it for people, and it supported me to live my life. So I feel like y'all are maybe figuring things out in the middle world. You got the heart, you got the drive, you got the passion, you got the vision, and there is a presence here of, keep your feet on the ground too. Leap, make the fool's leap, but land on the ground with your 2 feet. And don't be afraid to dance between those two realms, taking the leap and then grounding onto your feet, taking the leap and grounding onto your feet. Wow, we got a lot of tree symbolism coming here. Tree of life. It's a very healing card. It's also about seeing yourself as like connected to the world around you. My voice just cracked. A contemplation I've been sitting with a lot recently and moving with and weaving into my perception of reality is interbeing. I've been reading a lot of incredible writers and people who speak on interbeing, and it's this understanding that within something is so many things, right? Like within these cards is the cloud that had to be in the sky in order for the rain to come down to grow the tree that then became the paper that then became the backboard of these cards, right? In this card is the hand of the painter who illustrated it, right? It's like it's so easy to look at something so subjectively or objectively, when really there's so much within it. And you are the exact same. You might think, I'm just Nicole from New York. But really, you're so much. You are the experiences that have cracked your heart open. You are the things that bring you to tears. You are the way your eyes light up when you're doing that thing you love doing. You're a reflection of the people who love you and care for you and whose lives you have touched. There's so much more to you. And if you are at all worried or concerned or, thinking about money and the middle world of things, just like being a human and being in this 3D world and navigating adult things, remember that you are so worthy of being here. You deserve to be here. You deserve to be supported. And you have so much within you that is inherently valuable. Whether it's a skill set you can provide, or kindness you offer, or skills you have to work in someone else's business in an establishment. It's just like believing in yourself and believing that you deserve to be here, and believing that you are part of the bigger web of things. All right, so I'm going to get all sappy, so I'm going to carry on to the next card. And then we have the Earth. What is called? Oh my God. I love this. I love how the cards always bring out the themes. You guys feel very earthy to me, which is kind of funny because there's such like a fiery, expansive, sparkly energy in the base cards, the tarot cards. These ones are very kind of shamanic. Like there's like earth, tree of life, the middle world, and it's like very grounded and rooted. And this card is also about reciprocity. This card is about monetary resources, being resourced, trusting that the earth has abundant resources, that you will be supported in all of the ways that you need, trusting in that so deeply. So perhaps spending more time in nature, or maybe where your travels are taking you, you're going to be really immersed in nature. I feel that. I don't feel like you guys are like going to the city. I don't feel like you're going to like Los Angeles or something. I mean, hey, kudos to you if you are. That's amazing. And such a magical place in its own way. I feel like you guys are being called to the earth, like earth-based wisdoms, earth-based teachings, earth magic, earth experiences, nature, the mountains of the world, the sacred sites of the world, the trees and forests of the world, or the oceans. I get a very earthy energy from you guys. Maybe you're also an earth sign, like you got a lot of Taurus or Capricorn or Virgo going on. But I do feel like you're being told this, you're being asked to trust that you will be supported. So long as you move about the world in a good way, you give of what you have, you share your strengths and talents and gifts, you give back where you can, you will be supported. And I know it can sound so fluffy to say those kind of things, but it's true. It's really true. And I think you're being asked to trust that. Final card, the standstill. So this card is wow. It's a threshold card. See how she or he is sitting at this threshold, looking out into a new world. That's where you are right now. And you're in a bit of a standstill before the new portal opens, before the new door opens. Or maybe you're standing right in front of the door and you know that you're just waiting for the right moment to walk through. And I don't think you're going to miss it, group number 2. I really don't. I think you're ready for it. I think you just got to trust yourself. You're sitting at the threshold. So what comes up for you intuitively? What are you sitting at the threshold of, group number 2? Is it a path in life? Is it a travel? Is it a trip? Is it an experience? Is it an awareness of self? You're at a standstill, and things are about to change, and you know that, and I just feel a lot of admiration for you, group number 2. I feel like you're a very courageous bunch of souls, and your life is about to change in a big way. As you move through this portal, and as you trust yourself, and trust that you'll be supported, and trust in your ability to give back and be a part of that reciprocal dance of life, giving and receiving. Okay, last cards we're going to look at are the Archetype deck. The Sustainer. Oh my gosh. This card is all about being resourced, having the resources you need, trusting that you have what you need. All right, now I'm getting it quite clear. I feel fairly confident that this card over here, the Despair card, was about feeling like contraction or restriction around maybe like being supported, being safe, having money, your health maybe, resources, something just very like practical and physical. But you're really being encouraged to trust and to cultivate your skills. I feel like this this adventure you're about to embark on, this fool's journey you're stepping into, it's not fully like cerebral. It's not like this, it's an experience that's just happening in your head and very disembodied. I think it's actually going to cultivate something in you. I think it's going to cultivate certain capacities you have to rise in your gifts, or to rise in your providership, or to rise in your service in some way. And this card also does call you to reflect on what sustains you, what really nourishes you, what sustains you, what grounds you, what keeps your body healthy, what keeps your system strong. Focus on those things as you are leaping. And I feel like that's a really nice balance point here, because you had a lot of that fire and leap and inspiration and rising up. But don't forget to care for yourself and to nourish yourself and to ground yourself as you are doing that. Care for your body, care for your health, care for your routines. You can do both. We have the crone. I love this card. Crone is has the crow, so it's a very magical card. It links to the old magic of the world. Some could think of it as the pagan traditions or Native American traditions and the ancient civilizations of the world and the ancient magic. It's a connection to the deep magic of the earth, the elementals. It kind of feels like the threshold, the standstill. Maybe some of you feel like you're being called to actually like move in a totally different way in life that allows you to bring through like the deeper parts of you. It's very easy, right, to become homogenized in our society and to feel like we're the weirdo or we're the outcast if we talk about the things that we really think about, the things that we're really passionate about, or the way we really see things. This card is about old magic. It's about deep wisdom. The crone, who is aged in her wisdom, who is wizened by life and time, she's not walking around on eggshells. She's not tiptoeing around people. She's speaking from her heart. She's speaking from her depths. She's not afraid if you get it or don't get it. She's being true. Because truth is wealth. Truth is health. Truth is life. And I feel like you guys might be stepping into the space of your life where you're being called to really live by your truth and to speak from that and to orient your own compass by that of how you move through the world. And it can be kind of scary because some people might be intimidated or fearful, like people are afraid of, right, magic. Magic has been demonized by just about everything, society, the church, politics, everything, because it's a relationship with the divine. It's a relationship with nature, which most people are terrified of. It's an interbeing with nature, a coexistence with nature, and all of the wisdom that nature carries. And I feel like I'm getting really deep with you guys. I think those three cards that came out, the middle world, the earth, and our friend over here, tree of life, does kind of bring in the shamanic energy. So I feel like y'all are deep. I feel like you guys want to really live your life in a deep, meaningful way. Maybe you're even inclined to work with magic in a way, or study ancient traditions or ancient religions. And the final card we have is Kairos. This card is about time. The time beyond time, though. I'm sure you have heard how time, right, time is kind of a concept. Time is an experience. Time can slow down or speed up depending on what we're doing, who we're with, how we feel. And this card is about accessing the time beyond time. Going into the eye of time. What makes you feel timeless? What makes time stand still before you? Timing also feels linked with this standstill card. Like, really trust that you're going to know the timing of leaping. Trust that you're going to know when the moment is there and it's time to go. Trust that you're going to see what you need to see exactly when you need to see it. You guys are powerful. Group number 2. I feel like you are very courageous, brave souls, and you're very like sovereign in your expression. And I feel like your message today is to really trust that. To keep your feet on the ground, to sustain and endure, but let those feet come up off the earth and leap into the unknown, because it is your time and the portal is here. So that's your reading, group number 2. I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know in the comments below. And if you want to book in your own personal reading from me, I'm going to link that in the description box below. I'm going to carry on to group number 3. Last but not least, we have group number 3 with the fossilized coral agate. Such a pretty stone, honestly. This little coral. So I said this in the other piles. The way I was guided to pull the cards today was really fascinating. Each time I do one of these readings, I never know what's going to come up. It's a full surrender into the experience, and I don't look at the cards at all when I'm shuffling. But when I was shuffling your deck, pile number 3, I was drawn to the middle of the deck. I, was just feeling the cards, sensing which ones to pull, holding the stone in my hand, really tuning into this group number and that stone and who would be drawn to it. And something in me and in my hands kept saying, go to the middle of the deck, go to the juice of it, go to the belly of it, go to the middle, go to the middle. So I don't know if that links to anything, but I just want to share that sentiment that was coming up, a sense of like, get to the middle of it, get into the center of it. And it felt really nourishing. Your deck also, I receive communication from spirit, typically through like vibration, color, sound, frequency, scent. Sometimes my human design cognition type is scent. I work a lot with human design and astrology. For those of you who don't know, I offer readings and personal card readings. If you want to find any of those, you can find them in the description box. But I kept smelling like really nourishing foods, like shortbread. Not nourishing, like warm and yummy foods, like they just feel good in your belly, like angel food cake and butterscotch and caramel. I don't know, sometimes people don't like the way I say that. And shortbread, it was just like sweet. It was like the sweet filling. So let's see what your cards have to say. We're going to start with the tarot, and I will be linking all of the decks that I'm using in the description box as well. So first card, King of Cups. Well, that's a yummy card. Those of you who are new here, if you don't like me using the words yummy or juicy, you may as well just unsubscribe from my channel. I'm a sacral generator. I'm a honey woman. I'm all about the yum. And this card is a very yum card. It's fun because it balances the feminine and masculine. What is it to be so firm and strong and devoted, like a king, holding its frame into the realm of emotions and feeling and depth and passion and romance, right? It's like the ideal man who's embodied in his lover and his king. He has authority, he has a strong frame about him, and he's got a soft heart, and he feels and he attunes and he's sensitive to the world around him and the needs of those around him, right? So whether you're a man or woman listening, it doesn't matter. It's beyond gender. It's something we all have within us, masculine and feminine energy. There is this kingly feminine. There is this kingly heart showing up. Sometimes this card can show like someone in your life. So if you are a man, this could be a quality that you're embodying or you want to embody. Or if you're a woman, you could be evoking like your inner king within yourself, your inner masculine, which if you're not familiar with polarity work, reach out to me. Or look it up. It's a really beautiful journey to go on, that inner marriage of your own masculine and feminine. Or it could show that there is someone coming into your life or in your life who embodies these qualities, whether it's platonic or romantic, just like a presence of really solid, stable, beautiful love and care and presence and emotional depth. So we need more cards. Let's see what else we got working here. Second card we have is the Two of Pentacles. This card can be about finances. Sorry, it's got to focus. Monetary choices, work. Also just like juggling the daily tasks. Maybe you guys have felt kind of like busy with the day-to-day and you're needing a little, as Nina Simone would say, sugar in your bowl. You're needing some sweetness, you're needing some care, you're needing some love. I don't know why, but I'm seeing you guys like treating yourself to something, like treating yourself like the King of Cups would treat you, whether it's getting a pedicure or even just sitting at the beach for a few hours or making a beautiful meal or going out and taking yourself on a date or letting someone take you on a date, right? It's like letting yourself be cared for, because it is showing up that there's a lot going on in your day-to-day. There's a lot of things that need to be done, and floors that have to be swept, and laundry that has to be done, and books that have to be checked, and errands to be run, and emails to be answered. It's just, it feels busy. It feels really busy. And I feel like there's this sweetness needing to come in, or a softness needing to come in. You don't have to juggle. Do you guys tend to juggle a lot of stuff? And I'm not talking about you know, toys. I'm talking about responsibilities. I feel like you guys multitask a lot. Then we have Seven of Wands. This card sometimes is about feeling like you have to compete or fight for yourself or stand by your virtues and values. All right, so I'm just going to speak from my intuition and what I'm getting. I feel like you guys have recently, or you're in it now, you've kind of been like walking through the fires in a way. You've been walking through the fires of a really tough time or a really trying time, or feeling like you needed to defend yourself or stand up for yourself, or, you know, get your guns ablazing or defend your territory. This is actually a really beautiful card. It's about overcoming the odds. It's about standing valiant on top of your own, you know, success. It's about fending off the competitors, you know, but it is like a fight energy. It's got a little bit of a fight to it. And it's about challenge, a little bit of challenge, coming up valiant, but having to go through the challenge. And I feel like, I don't know if it's an experience you've been through or just maybe a core, I wouldn't say core, but a learned habit and pattern you have within you because of survival mechanisms or childhood experiences where you feel like you have to fight for yourself. You have to fight for what you want, or you have to fight to protect yourself, or fight to get to the bottom of it, or fight people. Sorry if this is sounding a little bit, I feel like I just sounded like a Karen. But yeah, I'm just getting the sense of like heat and hot and dry and this fight in you. And I don't know if it's serving you, group number 3. I really don't know. I need to see more cards and we're going to go on that journey. But right now, to me, it feels like a twofold. It could be like you're being asked to step into that because it's really good and you're like standing up for yourself. But I'm more so getting this nudge that there's like a call from spirit for you to melt a little bit, you know, to melt into that caramel core, to melt into that caramel core, to melt into that butterscotch pudding, to melt into like something a little sweeter and softer, and to not see that as weak. I think that softness and sweetness and receptivity and surrender can be seen as such weak qualities. But truly, like a lot of things that we get by having to fight for them don't really metabolize that well in the long term. Unless, you know, maybe we're a part of a team when we're fighting for a cause, wonderful. But if it's solo and you just feel like you're fighting the world or fighting people, or you get that response in your system, I think it's a call for you to soften, and it might not be coming from as true of a place as you think. I hope this isn't too much. Take and leave what serves you and does not serve you, group number 3, of course, as always. That's just what I'm getting. It's like, do you have to fight? Maybe you don't have to fight anymore, group number 3. Soften. Become the butterscotch. Okay. We have Page of Swords. The page, focus please. There we go. The page invites you on a journey. You know, it's like the initial steps of a journey. It's the it's the beginning. It's the first steps. It's not the knight where you're in your stride. It's not the king where you're all perched up in the throne at the end of the road. It's the initial embarking. You know, it's when you first start out. And I feel like you, group number 3, you're embarking on a change of like mindset. You're embarking on a new mentality. Right now, Spirit wants to tell you that it's okay for you to change your mind about things. It's okay for you to see things in a different way. The Swords is all about our thought. It's air, it's communication, it's words, it's expressions, it's sentiments, it's how we think, how we feel, how we talk. Maybe not how we feel, but how we think and how we talk and communicate, and how we think to ourselves. And I feel like you're being invited to go on a journey into a new way of thinking. Pile number 3. Let's see what you're being led into, but I feel like with this King of Cups, it's into something that is more nourishing for your heart, that actually makes you more available for love, makes you more available for connection, makes you more available for intimacy, romantic and platonic, right? Just that sense of being connected to people in the world around you and trusting that it's safe. Then we have the Seven of Cups. Oh, I love this card. This card is kind of the card of imagination, illusion, phantom energy, things shape-shifting and changing, but really it is a card about your desires. It's a card about allowing yourself to open your heart to what your fantasies are. And it's so funny because I actually just saw a meme today. It's funny, memes are becoming like a whole resource in and of themselves. And it said, "My fantasies are my roadmaps." And I really liked that because fantasy, right, can be seen as something that's, it's just childlike and or childish and irrelevant and foolish and delusional But actually, our fantasies can be roadmaps if we're willing to go on that journey of following them. And I feel like you are being invited on a journey of a different way of using your mind. And maybe you're being invited on a journey of using your mind in a more creative, elastic, playful, kind of like plasticity, increasing the plasticity of your mind of what you think is possible for your life, of what you think other people are capable of what you think is available in love and friendship and relationship, like opening your heart into new possibilities, letting yourself entertain your dreams. You might want to keep a dream journal, group number 3. This card does have a lot to do with like our unconscious and, both the scary monsters that can be stuck in there that can create terrors and nightmares, and also the deep dreams and desires and core wants and needs that are in there that can, be shown to us through our fantasies. So again, I don't think I'll get flagged for this, but I got a stellium in Scorpio, and I think there's also something about the nature of fantasies, right? Even if people, talk about, I know you know what I'm saying, like certain kinds of fantasies, how sometimes even if a fantasy is a little weird, like there's usually some kernel of truth in there. It's like, okay, beyond the sensual component, like what is the deeper desire and want and need there, right? So it's like, trust your fantasies, and I'm not only talking about sensual experiences, I'm talking about in general. If you have something that seems like, oh, well, that's just silly, like let's say you're an accountant, but you've always dreamed of being an actress, and you're like, I'm never going to be an actress, that's so silly. Well, what is it about acting that tugs on your heartstrings? Oh, sorry. Is it the clothing? Is it the expression? Is it the passion? Is it the playfulness? And invoke that in your life in different ways. It doesn't have to be so like sterile and direct. Sorry about that, group number 3. I had to change out the battery. But yeah, we have this really strong theme of like allowing yourself to fantasize for your life, allowing yourself to dream again, allowing yourself to imagine, allowing yourself to go into the realm of the imaginal and the potential and the possibility, and to not limit yourself with old ways in which you've seen things or old ways in which you have done things. And the final tarot card we have is the Ace of Swords. So you have the Page of Swords and the Ace of Swords. There's definitely a very strong theme coming up here around your mind. Maybe you guys even like work within a certain realm that really prizes your mental agility or your investigative abilities or your educational pursuits or studies or research. I feel like you have a very sharp mind, and that's a beautiful thing about you, right? That's like an incredible thing. But it's learning when the mind is serving you and when it's hindering you, when it's serving you in terms of your heart and your deep fulfillment and your true inner riches and wealth, and when it's kind of like cutting away at the softness of life, cutting away at the sweetness, cutting away at the receptivity that would allow you to seemingly like maybe feel like weaker in a way or soften the blade, but actually it's allowing for so much more grace and fluidity and ease. So I feel like your mind is your superpower, group number 3, but you're definitely being guided, and we have a rose here, right, to like use your mind in a way that allows you to orient towards more receptivity, more love, more creativity, more fantasy, more passion, more beauty. Some really beautiful cards we got going on there. We're gonna move into the next deck of cards. I'm gonna link in the description box as well all of the decks that I use in case you want to check them out. And also I will put links for my astrology and human design readings, and if you want to book your own and receive your own card reading, I am now offering that as well. So that'll be in the link below. This is from the Shamanic Oracle, and the first card we have is the Gatherer. This card is really about plenty. It's about the harvest time. It's about nature's crops, right? Like when nature is in harvest time, it's when we're receiving all the crops from the cycle of growth, and we're harvesting, we're profiting off of the seeds that have grown into their maturation, and we have the squash and the corn and the fruits and the vegetables. It's a time of ripening. It's a time of abundance even. So I see that maybe you're being guided right now to like harvest some of your gifts, harvest some of the fruits of what you have created, and like we were saying with that, the honey, shortbread, butterscotch, vanilla, warmth coming through, like allow yourself to receive right now. There's probably more that you could be receiving than you may even be aware of. And I think that's a really powerful trick that the mind can play on us. The mind can always think there is more to get, more to figure out, more to understand, more to dissect, more to judge, more to critique, more to perfect. Whereas truly, like, what are you sitting on right now? You could be sitting on a bounty. You could be sitting on a cornucopia of blessings. And I feel like with the King of Cups showing up, it's really affirming that. It's like you have a lot of beauty and abundance around you right here, right now, if you turn your eyes towards it and receive it. I don't know, like, I think with these metaphors as well, of like the shortbread and the butterscotch, I'm just gonna say it and maybe it'll resonate for you. I feel like spirit is wanting you guys to bake, like, is wanting you to cook or bake, even if you don't like baking. And I'm not saying this just because I like baking. I have not said this in a pick a card reading before. I feel like you're being guided to do things that put you in the actual somatic state and the embodied state of making something with the ingredients you have, right? Like, it's a very symbolic experience when we are baking bread. We're taking what we have, we're baking it into something that then becomes this beautiful finished product that can feed others that we care about and can feed ourselves. And baking is such a symbolic way of, showing the feminine power of multiplicity and the feminine power of bounty. We take a seed and we turn it into a baby, and then that baby can make their own family in time. It's like, it's such an abundant concept. And I feel like you doing things that get you in that somatic state of actually using your resources and your hands and your paints or your ingredients to bring something into fruition, to gather your resources and to bring something into fruition. I feel like spirit is really wanting you to be in that state right now, and it's going to help pull you into the sweetness and kind of like taper the mind. And then we have the Serpent card. So I'm just gonna also say this. I didn't do this with any of the other decks. It just wasn't any of the other groups. It wasn't apparent. There are these like, and maybe you've heard them. There are these like sensual or erotic undertones in your reading. Whether I was talking about like fantasies or even gestation of a child, like seed and egg coming together. So I don't know if there's something here with you guys. Maybe you are wanting to get pregnant, or you're on the journey of becoming pregnant, or you're thinking about that, or you are just kind of like looking through that lens of like, what would I want if I were to be a mother or a father? Who would I want to do that with? How would I want to care for my body? How would I want to change up some things in my life to support that? Where would I need to soften and become more receptivity to step into that phase of, getting ready to receive a child or carrying a child? Or maybe it's just a call to deeper connection to your own sacred sensuality, your own sacred connection to your erotic nature. Your erotic innocence is a term I love using. And I work with a lot of women around. It's like coming back to that erotic wholeness and innocence that is such a core, core essence of our being that can get so manipulated and so distorted by the world. I feel like with the serpent being here, there is a very powerful call to your essential sensual nature and being connected to your body, connected to your womb, connected to your sexuality, connected to this beautiful innocence of Eros within you. And for some reason I am picking up on like fertility and that cycle, right, of fertility and love and a shared journey with another to like bring a child into the world. And I feel called to say that. It may only resonate for a few of you, but there's definitely strong tones here of this like tantric, kundalini, sensual energy showing up and being able to be something that's really supportive for you, or maybe reflecting part of the journey that you're on. Then we have the Sun card. Wow, this card's beautiful. I've had this deck for a long time, but I never really pull this card, so it's cool to see it come out. The sun bringing warmth, bringing that warm butterscotch filling, the caramel, the delight, the sweetness. I just feel like Spirit's really asking you guys and inviting you guys to soften and receive, to step into the sunlight, to step into the sweetness, to tap more into your body, to gather your resources, right? And what yields a great crop? A balance of rain and sunshine. And I feel like you guys know how to weather the rain. I don't know why. I feel like you're very mentally agile and you're sharp and you're determined and you can Maybe you even like challenge to the extent because it kind of pulls that dog out of you. It's like getting to the bottom of it and figuring things out. But it's your time to stand in the sun. And also, adequate sunlight is necessary for the plant to grow. Adequate sunlight and nutrients is necessary for the child to grow. Adequate sunlight and nutrients is necessary for your spirits to grow. And it's okay to stand in the sunlight. It's okay to rest. It's okay to put the mind to rest. And then we have the arrow, direction. This card to me, I don't know if you guys see this, but it kind of looks like the Ace of Swords. I do feel like there's a very strong direction coming in for you, and like we said, a redirection of your mind into perhaps a new orientation or a shifted orientation, or maybe a certain work path or creation path or career path that you're stepping into, or creative path is like allowing you to use your mind in a really good way, in the way you love to use it. Like maybe you have a really sharp mind, but you've been using it in a certain situation that's just like draining you and depleting you rather than filling you up. I saw this really cool video the other day of it's like, and the moral of the story of the video is like sometimes we're just using what we got in the wrong way. And there was this little girl and she was trying to play soccer and she was really fumbling with the ball and she couldn't do it, and it was like some kind of soccer practice and she was getting so frustrated. And then after it was her turn, her turn finished and she walked away from the drill, she started doing all these like back walkovers and cartwheels. It's like, oh, her body was not meant to be playing soccer, it was meant to be doing gymnastics. Like that's her genius. So I feel like you have a very strong genius with your mind and your intellect and your sight and your investigative abilities. But it might have just been directed in the wrong pursuits, or pursuits that were draining your spirit and depleting your energy and like pulling you away from your, I want to say like your sweetness, instead of bringing you back into that innocence and that heart center and your spirit power. And of course, sometimes it's not all about being sweet. Like there's a time for intensity, but I feel like you're being asked to gather the goodness and hone your passion in a direction that's really nourishing for you. And know that that's not weak. It's not going to put out the fire. Okay, so last card. We got a fire card. This card is amazing. Passionate, powerful. See it? Do you see that? The connection with this card, and then the Seven of Wands. Yeah, you guys are a force. You're a force of nature, and I think you're learning how to wield your fire in a way, and your sun in a way that doesn't burn the crop, but that brings them to such fruitful culmination and harvest. And perhaps something that's also, and I feel like serpents and fire have a very strong correlation because both are very linked to transformation, right? Things become transformed and forged in the fire. Just like a serpent is, the iconic ancient feminine symbol, I would say, of transformation. Like right? Like the skin molts and a new being emerges from the old skin, and sometimes it eats its own flesh, or the Ouroboros, like the snake, the serpent eating its tail. It's a sense of transformation and completion. And I feel like you just got to remember that your fire is not going to be put out by you choosing sweetness, by you choosing something that feels more fruitful and good on your system and nourishing on your system. It's actually going to expand it. It's going to be able to become a fire that gently brings things to a boil rather than flash boils them or burns them. Okay, last cards we're going to look at are the archetype cards. So you have the Eternal Child. Okay, some of you, please tell me if you want to, also you don't have to. Are you thinking about pregnancy? Are you thinking about having a child? There's a very strong energetic theme I'm feeling here, and the cards are revealing that there's a son, just like the sun card. Maybe a boy. Yeah, I feel very strong fertile energy, and this could be that you're thinking about motherhood or fatherhood or having a child, or it could just be that you're really caring for your own inner child and creating a healthy place for your own inner, magical being to exist and to use its passion in a good way and to create and be a part of the beauty of life and to have the sweetness of life while still feeling that passion and direction. So there is a call here to really care for and tend to your inner little one. Maybe asking them what they would like to gather, what makes them excited, how would they like to spend their time, their resources, their energy, what makes them feel excited. You have the Queen. Beautiful card. To me, the Queen wants to sit up with the King of Cups. A good queen, right, is balanced. She has a lot of heart, a lot of grace, a lot of poise. She has a good threshold for navigating different situations, but she also doesn't get up off her throne and interject herself or put herself into positions that would compromise her grace, her power, her influence. She has poise, but she has discernment. And the queen is a really strong archetype for inner authority, right? Like really honoring your own inner authority and meeting your own feminine power. And I don't think that's a matter of just, like claiming your power or commanding your power. It's about meeting those deep places within you that maybe the power it has been stolen or siphoned or hijacked, like where society takes away women's power, right? Usually it's linked to our eroticism, our bodies, our beauty, our ugliness, our wounds, the things that we shouldn't show, and like our hair or our taboo things, right? And like the queen is the woman who says, I'm going to meet those places in me and I'm going to reclaim the sacredness of them. And I'm going to stand with a beautiful and humble but powerful erect spine and know that I am going to be a beacon for that for other people if they so choose to walk that path as well. It's like a powerful authority, but it has to be cultivated on the inner planes first. So what really matters to you, group number 3? What are you standing for right now in your life? Does it truly reflect your values? There could be a bit of a riddle here. Here's the riddle card. I get this card a lot. It's trying to make sense of the unsensical. It's trying to see the unseen. It's trying to make sense of what doesn't want to be revealed quite yet. So you might feel like you're in a little bit of a riddle. And riddles, right? They have a very strong history of being kind of mystical, like the troll under the bridge or the sword in the stone. It's being willing to soften the mind so that you can hear with a deeper truth in your belly. And it feels to me like maybe that is the riddle here. You have a sharp mind, but it might not be your mind that's going to solve the riddle. It's actually your intuition. It's your gut. It's your embodiment. You're going to feel it in your body. Oh, I need to go there. Wow, I've been deluding myself this whole time with that direction. Really, it's about this. And sometimes it's getting into those states of no mind that allow you to crack the riddle. This happens to me all of the time. I'll be hyper-focused on something or trying to quote unquote figure something out, and I'll decide to just go for a run and let it go. And when I'm running, I'll get this pop of like insight. You have to really let it go though. And right, the child has access to so much inherent wisdom, but it's not grasping for it. It's not investigating for it. It's not hunting it down. It's not speculating and analyzing people. It's just softening into innocence and being with what's there. And I feel like that's a really strong message for you guys right now. And it's a powerful threshold that you're standing on. As you do this, things will shift before your eyes. You will enter into a whole new way of thinking, reflecting, and communicating. I think it's really going to change your relationships with others for the better. And I'm not saying it hasn't been good. I just think that things could get even better than you might know. And there could be more connection and more warmth and more love and passion and sweetness. And the final card we have for you, group number 3, is the Shapeshifter. This card to me feels very linked to the 7 of Cups. Like I think this would be 7 of Cups in tarot form. And the Shapeshifter is, the gift of the Shapeshifter is that reality is malleable and things can change and adapt and contort and transform. The shadow of the Shapeshifter is if you don't have a solid enough backbone of integrity or what you stand for or virtues, it can kind of feel like you're drifting in the wind or formless, or you don't really know what way's up or down. And sometimes that's something we have to go through in life if we're going through a huge reshaping. Often, though, it's not fully necessary. If you have certain integrity practices or things that you do really stand true to, things that are tried and true and lasting in you, then you can shapeshift with integrity, right? What do you always come back to? What's your baseline? This card to me does, though, invite, I keep wanting to use these words with you of like malleability and plasticity and neuroplasticity and allowing yourself to be a little bit more like, I don't want to say plastic because it sounds like fake. Allow yourself to be a little bit more bamboo-like and bendy and shifting and not necessarily on a physical level, on a mental level, on a cerebral level, in the thought space. What would it be like if you allowed things to shape and see how things look from that color or that perspective or that angle, whether it's other people in your life, problems, issues, challenges, excitements, opportunities, perspectives of yourself? Turn it around, flip it upside down. Notice what it feels like and looks like when you take some different perspectives. And I feel like that for you is kind of the riddle, right? It's funny. We can get so fixated on trying to find the answer to the riddle. Usually the answer is right under our nose. We just have to be willing to look in a different way or take on a different pattern. So group number 3, you guys are cryptic. This is definitely the most cryptic of the readings, and I feel like within that there's gems in the crypt. There's treasures in the crypt. And it's a matter of, will you unlock it? Will you take the bolt off? Will you take the lock off? The bolt and the lock could be fixed patterns, fixed ways of seeing or thinking or doing, and let things fly free a little bit and try things on in a different way. Try it on for size. Shift up your mindset and let that guide you towards what it is that really nourishes you, what it is you really want. Be resourceful, be creative. Yeah, and let me know how this reading resonated for you. If you want to check out my offerings, they're in the description below. But I would just love to hear how this landed for you, group number 3, because I'm quite fascinated by you. It's cryptic and mysterious, and that's right up my alley. So thank you for being here on this reading. Be sure to tune back in on the next one that I do. And in the meantime, I am wishing you all a beautiful day.